well, at least thank you for the people that are here right now. I wanted to test the opportunity to go live, and also, oh, you can see it there. Perfect. Nice. And also, if you have any questions or whatsoever, like, feel free to ask, and I will provide with the best answers I can. I already pre-assembled some questions that we had on the recent videos that are most common asked. So I'm going to go through them, and if you have any other questions or anything, just feel free to ask. So I'm going to start with the first one, and it's going to be let's see. Yeah, we can take that. This one, GPU sagging. Someone is asking about, do we have something that prevents the GPU sagging? And yes, we have that. I'm going to bring these cases down and show you a little bit better. Can do it like this. So here you have the prototype number 4. And as you clearly can see here, we have a GPU bracket, so it can support your GPU, so it won't be as, it won't sag as much in that sense. And we also have the motherboard angled, and that also actually shifts the weight from the front to more the back. So it will actually reduce your sag of your GPU with just that. So that is something that we, of course, have thought about, because the GPUs nowadays, they are getting bigger and bigger. Just this one, it's the 1070, and that is pretty huge, but we also have the 4080 and the 5070. Like, those are very, very big. So we need some sort of support for them for sure. So really good question, and yeah, we thought about it at least. Then we have the dust filters. Someone asked if it comes with dust protection, and yes, it does. That's actually a very funny thing, because when we developed it, I basically looked into the different type of dust filter that was at the market, and there was one thing I couldn't really grasp my mind of, and that was, you can see the holes in the filters. So if I'm showing you to the camera, you can see here that you can actually see the holes themselves. And what does that even mean? Well, if you can see through the holes, it means that particles, dust particles, can go through it, right? So I couldn't understand, why we're calling it a dust filter when it doesn't really stop dust. It can stop hair, bigger particles and stuff like that, but it doesn't really stop dust, to be honest. So we had to develop something different, and that was when we tried this out. It's a nylon dust filter, so it's much thinner threading. So you can actually, if I show it to the camera, it's not possible to see the holes, which means the particles won't be, going through that as easy. And the only temperature difference between, this one that doesn't block dust and this one, it's just about 1 degree Celsius. So it's not a huge deal, to be honest. And it also won't clog up your system as much. You're going to need to clean this more often because it's going to stop more dust. But if you don't like them, they are super easy to be removed. Yes, and this question we had a lot. People asking about AIOs. This case have been designed for airflow, firstly. We can fit 240 millimeter AIOs right now, but the case is also modular, which means, I won't tell too much, but everything you see here can be changed. And let's say we have a solution we're working on to make it possible to fit bigger AIOs. But mostly this case have been developed to have really good airflow. That has been the number one thing. And me personally, I believe that you can't really have both to be really good in that sense. Either you have a really good one that's built for water cooling or AIOs, or you have one that is really good for airflow. And depending on which one you want to go with, yeah. And if you go in the middle, then it's not super good at either. And I wanted to make a really good airflow case. And also, HDD and SSD drives, we have those. We don't have the HDD right now, the 3.5, but it's been a lot of questions on that one, to be honest. And yeah, because it's modular, we will make it possible for sure. I didn't personally know that so many people still used it, to be honest with you. But as you can see here, we have, okay, this one only, yeah, this, you have 3 brackets for 2.5s, and each of those brackets can hold 2 SSD 2.5s. So that means you can have 6 2.5s. But we can also make it possible for the 3.5, but then the thickness of it will be, so you can only accommodate one of these brackets. Do we have some questions in the chat? Let me see. Yeah, thank you so much for nice question. And the case is not, unfortunately, available right now. I've been developing it now for 4 years, and we are very close to a launch, but it needs a little bit fine-tuning, and also we're talking with the manufacturer right now to get the best price possible for the case. So that is something we're really working on right now, and I'm very glad that you at least ask. So yeah, thank you for the question. We can talk a little bit about the... Yeah, we had a lot of questions because we talk about airflow, and people ask, do I get more FPS on my case? I will give you a longer answer on that, because how this works is actually, the more cooler your components can be, the more they can perform. So in theory, yes, you're going to get more FPS in that sense. If your components are cooler, you're going to get more performance when you play games. And there is a lot of benefits actually with having a cooler components and better airflow. It's not just about the performance in-game in that sense. So there is a physical law that says for every 10 Celsius you can decrease your components, the lifespan is doubled. So if you can get temperatures down with just 2 Celsius, for example, that will improve your lifespan on that product up to 20%, for example. So that's huge. And a lot of people don't know that, to be honest. I didn't either before I started this. And they also got the performance is getting better, of course. So there is a lot of like benefits with having actually cooler components. And we also know how expensive the hardware is today. So yeah, it's good to make them, be alive as long as possible. The modularity is also something people have asked about. And what is modular in that sense for this case? Well, everything, actually. Yes, it's not just the panels that you can, remove that have magnets. It's actually, the complete case is made out of press screws and nuts. So that means like everything can be deassembled and assembled. So everything in that sense have a possibility to be upgraded, changed to all, and we especially have the modders in mind when doing this. And also to make a case that actually can, live with you, evolve, depending on what things are, popular. And also, like I hinted before, if you're more into water cooling, if you're more into air cooling, if you have other things you want in that sense, it's possible. And we're also going to actually release these drawings for the panels itself. So the community, you guys, can actually create your own. So you can actually 3D print. If you have a custom CNC, wood, whatever, you're going to be able to do that yourself. And I'm really hyped to see what people can create, because many brains are better than one. So I'm really hyped to see how the case can evolve to different things depending on the people that's doing it. Giving more power to the community, I would say. So that is something I really look forward to. When will we see it at tech reviewers? Well, that's a really good question, to be honest. It's something I tried to reach out to the bigger ones for over a year now, easy. They don't reply. I think I'm too small, and it's basically too small to be interesting for them. It would be awesome though to have someone of the bigger ones to review it, just to get their opinion on it. Of course, it would be awesome, but right now I can't say a specific date on anything, but we are totally open for it. Okay, why the shape? Yes, this one I have a pretty long answer to it, but mostly it's because there are many reasons actually, but the main reason is the airflow itself, how the air moves. Because if you look at the older cases, the way they have done it, when it was invented over 40 years ago, the shape, it didn't actually try to get good airflow in the same way, because it was not the same type of requirements and demands at that time when gamers were not a thing. And the way you're actually cooling your components in the cases is that you want to take in as much air as you can and really blast it in that sense. And you want to exhaust that air as quickly as possible. So it's more about, getting as much air into the case and again, exhaust it. What I looked at instead is how does the air actually moves inside the case? Because that will make it more possible to cool the components more efficient with less power needed to be put in. And those amazing, animations they have on their website, how the air is moving, smoothly, it's not really the truth. I have in another video a picture, an image on a real simulation made by a third-party company, how the air is actually moving inside the cases, and it's a nightmare, I would say, from my perspective at least. It's not good, and I can't really understand how the big companies, they have done this for over a decade, but they're still using the same way of cooling the components and selling the same lie to us over and over again. I understand it's to save money. They don't want to invent something that's working. Totally fine, but for me, I wanted more. But going back to the shape itself, so the way you want to cool your components that we learned from the data we have is that you want to have the air as quickly as possible from the intake to directly cool your components, and then you want to see how that air is moving to exhaust it. So you actually follow that natural flow in that sense, and that was what shaped the case. So it was not that we started and drew oh, we want this octagonal shape and then just made a case out of it, but it was actually on the opposite, where we were how do we cool the components as quickly as possible? And even I know it looks like a big case, we made it as small as possible, but still be able to fit the bigger GPUs and CPU coolers. And that's why you see these angled panels in that sense, because there is just dead space. If you look again on the rectangular one, there is no need for this one. And also when it comes to airflow, it's really bad with the rectangular 90 degrees, because it creates like a whirlwind or turbulence, and the air gets stuck there. So that's why also these angles. So that was what shaped it first, and then we basically just shaved it off as much as we could to still maintain the possibility to have the large GPUs and CPUs. And we also be using more space with having our case to be tilted, the motherboard. We're using more space because if it would be horizontal, like the normal cases, the GPUs would be, colliding with this side. But because we're doing it in a diagonal way, we're actually using more space inside the case. So it have a lot of different benefits to it. I try to think on as many things as possible. There's always ways to do it better. This was the best I could do for now, and with the limited funds I had. And, experience. Do you have any new questions or anything in chat? Let's see. Let's see. You have any case? Yeah, we have a lot of cases, but not for sale right now. We have approximately 5 of each iteration of prototypes. So we made 4 prototypes in factory. The first one we only did 1, prototype number 1, but the rest of them we have each 5 of each, and that's because you often, when you do manufacturing, you want to see how, when you get up in a little bit of volume at least, how big is the difference between the cases, because there always will be a difference between them, and you want to be able to catch that. So if there is an issue, for example, let's say with the measurements on this one, and we just do 1, then we maybe don't notice the problem. But if we do 5 iterations, then there is possibility to spot those problems, and you can take care of that then. So it's always good if you're doing like physical products to actually do a few of them at the same time to see how it goes. And especially if it's a product that is made in a factory and it's not like hand built where people like tweaking it afterwards, because that is a complete different way of doing it in that sense. Yes, I am Swedish. That's 100% true. I'm sorry, but I am. I can't really give you a date on exactly when the sales is going to be. We're pushing it out as quickly as we can. Yeah, we have a limited amount of funds. I've been doing this full time for 4 years now. I haven't had any other salary, and I invested all my savings into building this. So we're trying to get the launch as quickly as possible. Right now, we're talking with manufacturer to get the best prices possible. But it's difficult when we have a low volume, because when it comes to physical manufacturing, it often goes down to how many can you produce in one batch. That is determined then, like the cost of it. And the bigger companies, they can print, in one batch, 100,000 cases, and they're using moldings and stuff like that. So they can really push the prices down. When we have a small volume, that's a complete different story. But we try to optimize it as much as possible. So yeah, I can't say the exactly price or when we're going to launch it, but it's going to be pretty soon. We're going to announce it for sure. Did we have any more questions there? Sorry if I'm going out of... Oh, great question. He asking if we were going to do it in Sweden. We tried. We had 3 different manufacturers in Sweden, actually. One very small, one medium, and one very large. And it's not that we don't have the skill to do it in Sweden. We have a lot of skills. We have the right type of technical stuff. We have the machines and all of it. But the issue we have is that I don't know how to say it in a nice way, but it's about the finishes in that sense. I think it comes a bit from laziness. I've spoken with a lot of people in hardware that actually make stuff in Sweden, and they all have the same type of problems. So we had a little bit problems with the powder coating was not good quality at all, actually. Also, like, small things. I think we Swedish people, we're not really used to make like consumer hardware products that need this extra like touch and finish. I really hoped that we could. We haven't closed the door completely, but right now we're actually looking overseas manufacturing, not because we, wanted it, but more like we have tried now 3 different ones, and it didn't give a lot of good results. Maybe it's possible to fix or not. I don't know, but we're exploring different alternatives for sure. But yeah, really good question at least. The cable management, have someone ask about. Yes, it's something I thought about because I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cable management myself. And I just hated it when you try to close the side panel and you were not able to, close it because you didn't do nice cable management. So the way I did it here is that we actually have extra depth. So compared to many cases, it's actually the double. So it's very easy to just do the basic cable management and then just close it and don't remember or show it to anyone else. We don't have these cool, nice canals that many cases have today. The reason why is because I talked with a lot of people that have like custom cables, and they are often much thicker. And when it comes to these like fixed cable canals, they are oftentimes too narrow, so you're not able to really put those there. So I thought, because we have a modular case, it's pretty easy to make if you need those cable canals. But for the people that don't need it, well, here's an option at least. I'm going to look at the question again. Yes, we actually have grommets on it. This prototype, we don't have it because we ordered it from another supplier and we didn't order it for the prototype number 4. We have it in this case, I believe. Let me just double check. Yes, can actually open it up a bit. Yeah, we have it in the case at least. So we have, rubber grommets. It's very good. So yeah, thank you. But we also make the. I also want to make clear we actually have so it's not sharp as well, the case inside the metal, but it's also good to be extra protected for sure. Do we have any more questions there? Nope. Perfect. Let's see. Then we have this question also that was pretty common in the comments. My case was invented for gaming. And yeah, that's not completely true, to be honest. And what I mean by that is that the case we're using today is rectangular shaped. As many of you know, it's a box. This case was invented 40 years ago, and there were no gamers back then, and they didn't think about, solving problems with gaming. But what happened was that some passionate nerds and people that really loved gaming thought that, these boring bash cases, they are pretty bad when it comes to like getting the feeling like it's made for us. It just feels like it's office work, right? So they actually did that extra step where they started to customize it color-wise and open it up and make it look a bit cooler in that sense. And then we're starting to have these issues with we needed to cool the components, we wanted to store more, and all of that. And instead of going back to the foundation and be like, hey, now we have all these new problems and demands, how would we make the case? We instead used the same case again that we already had and improved that one to be able to fit all these things and solve the problems. The cases work totally fine. I'm a gamer myself, and I've been using rectangular cases, of course. Work totally fine. They are super good, a lot of them. But they were never invented for, gaming. It's a little bit like, for example, running a marathon in sandals. It works, but it's not optimized for it. It's the same thing with the rectangular case design. I believe there is many other shapes out there that solves the problem in different ways that are better. I just made this, and this was the best I could do, at least. So that is what I mean by was never invented for gaming. Yeah, I think so. I don't know if it's going to be. We all waited for GTA 6 for a long time now. I don't know if they're going to release it to PC immediately, but they probably go to console again first. But yeah, you can probably play GTA 6 on it. It's more about what components you pick in it. So I don't see it as a problem, to be honest. And then one question that I really liked was, so you say it's time for a change in PC cases. And yes, it is time for a change in PC cases, and not just PC cases, actually in the whole gaming industry, to be honest. Because if we have that same mindset, most of the things were never invented for gaming. If you look at your keyboard, it's a typewriter. It's 150 years old. It's based on that, and we're playing games on that. And I don't believe it's the best way to play games. It works. We all do it, but I don't believe it's the best way. And that's why I believe it's been born like controllers, for example, because when they were going to do a console, if the keyboard would have been the best way possible to interact with the console, then they would have done a keyboard. And I believe it's the same way with us with keyboard. It's important that we can type, but when we're playing games, there should be something else. And same with the computer mouse, the gaming chair, the gaming tables, everything in that sense. Most of it was never like invented from gaming, and that is what I want to do, because I can't accept solutions that were made to fix something else, that it could be the best possible way of doing it to other problems and solutions. That I have to find like an alternative way of doing it. And I've been that stubborn ever since I was little. I couldn't accept things just because people said I had to accept it. So yeah. Yes, I am from Sweden. I'm sorry with the accent. I'm trying to do better and better every day, and hopefully one day you won't even notice. But I hope at least everyone can understand me. And when we're talking about that, I have a little story actually. When I showed the prototype number 2, I can bring that up as well. I did go to one of the biggest retailers in Sweden. I won't say the name. And I had a meeting with them because I wanted to show the case and see if there was some interest in it. But when I got there, I was, pretty nervous, going to show it for the first time. I haven't showed it to anyone because I haven't done anything public. And I get into this meeting room, and it was 2 people. One was a senior, and one was a more junior person. And they have been into PC cases for a long time, and they picked what cases they wanted to sell at that company. And the senior guy, he was just going around and like humming, like And then he pointed at the screen, and he was like, "Nah, a screen on a PC case? That's ridiculous. That's so dumb. You shouldn't remove that immediately." And I was like, "Okay, why do you believe that?" And he said, "Nah, if someone wanted this, the big brands would already have done it, and we would sell it because we know all about this, and make sure that someone like you cannot come and just saying people want this." And I felt, when some experts coming to you and you're like knowing nothing in that sense, and they tell you you are wrong, you're doing it wrong, this is bad, it can really fuck you up in that sense. And I just had a gut feeling, because when I did this, there was no commercial cases out there that had a integrated touchscreen or a screen at all. But the thing I saw, because I'm lurking at these communities of PC modders and builders, the number one thing that the most modders at that time did, they like destroyed their cases to be able to fit a touchscreen in it. Someone did it rather good, some very bad. And the comments was always like, whoa, look, like a touchscreen inside a case. That's amazing, you know? And I was like, it looks super cool. What if we can make a dedicated place for it so users don't need to destroy their cases to be able to fit it, right? So that was where my idea was born out. I don't say it was an original idea. I rather say I saw it, I watched it, I'm part of the community, and I can see there's a demand for this. So forwarding 1 year after that meeting, what happened? Well, there was another case manufacturer, I don't say which one, that released a case with a touchscreen. And the community went wild and be like, oh, whoa, that's innovation, that's really cool. And that was when I understood that these experts, they are good at what they're doing, but they don't know everything. And that's have been something that I really resonated with me afterwards, because now I'm much more secure. Like, I know what I need to do, and I listen and I look and I see what all of you guys are doing out there, and really try to make the best product possible. So just something if you want to, do stuff in later, or if you have things that you crafting and stuff like that, don't listen too much what others say, go on your own gut feeling, 100%. I love the screens. Okay, that's really nice. Yeah, this is actually a touchscreen, and it's not like the other touchscreens, because my thought of this, now it's very tilted towards a specific community, of course, but it's possible to have a Raspberry Pi behind it. I don't know what these people can do. I have seen crazy stuff, to be honest. So I just wanted to make it possible, so not the screen is locked to one software. So it's actually just an extended screen. So there requires no software on your PC to be able to run this. So it's just directly powered up by USB, and you plug it in with HDMI in your graphic card, and it runs. And I also wanted to make a screen that didn't require a lot of your resources from your GPU. So that was also something I had in mind when I did it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what people can do with the Raspberry, as because I've done some small Raspberries before, but not the crazy things. So I think this one could be really cool with the people that are really good at it, to be honest. Do we have anything more from the chat? Okay, yeah, not at the moment. Yeah, so yeah, what can I say more? It was fun to be able to show it, at least. It's the second time I tried to go live, and yeah, it's kind of new for me, maybe you notice. So yeah, answering questions is always great. That's always make it much easier to be able to stand here in front of all of you. But it's been a crazy journey for sure. It's been 4 iterations of prototypes over 4 years, and yeah, a crazy journey. I also wanted to highlight this a bit. Don't look at the complete design itself, but we have something really cool actually coming out soon, because I really believe in the possibility of customization, and think that we all have different preferences when it comes to what we like and dislike, and colors, etc. And we should have the possibility to actually make the cases in our own image. And yeah, we will have some sort of way for you to personalize each case in your liking, in that sense. So that is also something I really look forward to see the different designs all of you are doing, and just see it. We had some question here as well. The price point I wishing to hit for everyone. To be honest, if I could, I would 100% give it out for free, actually, because I just enjoy doing this. But as most of you can understand, it's not possible in a business. You have to make some sort of money. ideal. I don't like to talk prices, to be honest with you, because I don't know exactly now. But a dream, I think it's going to be a bit difficult, but for myself, like I don't want to talk prices really. It's difficult, but yeah, we leave it at that. But the thing I can say is that because it's made in smaller volume, we have much higher cost to make it compared to the other brands, because they are doing like 100,000x each time, and they have special molding and tooling to reduce the prices. But we try to make it as efficient as we can. We don't have a large budget or anything. We try to make it as affordable as possible, and it's not about us getting rich or stuff like that. It's more about we want to get the product out for the right price. But I will update the price point soon. But it's not going to be the budget type of cases, which I think at least some of you can understand why. Because we really put our thought into making the case and picking the materials to be like top tier quality, because we can't compete with the prices. So we had to go the other way around almost to, so for example, the panels, they are made of 3mm thick aluminum, and they're like, yeah, you can't budge these at all in that sense. Maybe overkill, maybe not, but it's a very nice feeling at least. Thank you so much, TechRoy. I'm doing my best. I'm just a noble peasant doing my best. I always resonated with me that the product comes first, not the market. And I love to see it when companies really put the product first and not trying to find like a trend or something to be hyped about and making as much money as possible. Like Lorient Studio, for example, with Baldur's Gate. Great example of really pushing it into making the best product possible by passionate people that actually cares about what they're creating, and not doing some hyped up pre-launch and a lot of like pre-order packages that just take our money, and when the game is released, it's trash, and they know it before they release it. I don't want to do that. I want to make the best product possible I can. It's always going to have some flaws, of course. I'm not perfect at all. But I want to highlight the problems as well. I don't want to hide them, because they are going to be shined light on later on anyway. So I think it's important to be very transparent about what the product is and what it does, and what the problems with the product itself is as well. I think it's very important, and it also builds trust towards you, because I'm here for the longer game, and I want to connect with people, and want to build something with all of you in that sense. And I hope I have the possibility to do it. I will do my best. And like I said, I've been on here already for 4 years without any payments or anything, just pushing this and investing all my savings into doing this, which it's crazy, to be honest. I wouldn't recommend doing that for so long to anyone business-wise. But it's something I truly believe on in the bigger vision in that sense. And I hope I can bring all the amazing products I have in the pipeline to life, and also get your opinions about things as well. I think it's going to be very fun. And also we looking for actually some testers as well, not just for the cases, but actually for like the products, because we have a lot of like off shelf in that sense on in our storage. We have, for example, like the power buttons. Oops, it's on here. We have these ones available. If someone just want to try them out and give them like a user perspective input on the feeling, the quality, if it's good or bad, what could be better. Like if you're interested in those stuff, like reach out to us and we can see if we can like make it happen. The same is with the touchscreen. I've been using the case now for the version number 3 since DreamHack 2023. So it's almost 2 years now, and there is no problem at this stage with any of the electronics or anything. I use it daily, and also my brother actually have a case as well. So we are 2 people that are using the cases daily, and none of us had issues with the start button, the EOs, the USB ports, and the touchscreen. So yeah, that's also very nice. Oh yeah, there is some limitation on the fan sizes. Yes, as maybe some of you know, the fan sizes today, they go everything from, I think it's like 40 millimeter or 45 millimeters all the way up to over 220 millimeters. And yes, they are not able to be fitted. So right now, you can have 120/140 millimeters on all the fan spots. So it's 2, 3, 4. This part is modular, so you can have a screen there if you don't want the fan. And then you have 2 in front, and then 1 here. And then you have a small 120 one on the back. Here is not possible to fit 140 millimeter. And we actually have the airflow, the intake for the case to your CPU on the back, actually, on the rear, which is also very different from how the normal case design is. And the main issue, the main reason for it is because when you have like your GPU here, I can take one actually. You have your GPU here, normally. The exhaust from your GPU is going to be here. And now on the new version as well, it's going to be here. And then you have your CPU over here. So what happens is your hot air from the GPU rises here, and it will intake your hot air from your GPU inside your CPU cooler, which is not really optimal, as you can understand. So we wanted instead to see, can we cool the CPU directly instead of using the air inside the case? And that was why we designed it, so we actually take the intake for the CPU on the back. And we have the data from a company called FS Dynamics and also RISE, that is an independent research facility. They are both non-particle, and they done the test, and we actually have data and proof that our case design is better on cooling compared to the rectangular cases. And we actually benchmarked it against like the leading cases in airflow. So that is something that's really huge, because it was not something I strived to do when I started. It was more, I want to make a really good airflow case that looks different. And it ended up way better than I could imagine. Yeah, just think about it yourself. Like, these companies, they have spent 40 years and billions of dollars invested in upgrading the case from the normal case that was in the 80s all the way to today, and optimize airflow a little bit every year. And it's been over 10,000 of engineers, top engineers, have been working on this, daily for 40 years. And to even be able to come close to the number, that's, in my world at least, it's ridiculous. You shouldn't be able to do that at all. But some reason I was able to do it and even get better result. And what that shows you is not really, I'm not a genius in any way. I'm not an engineer. I don't have any education at all. But what it shows is that how little they actually care about doing it good. Because it's not about me being a genius, because I'm not. It's about them. They don't care. And that's also what we're showing with the data we have on the airflow from FS Dynamics. It's a simulation on the airflow itself. You can see very, very clearly how bad the air is actually moving inside the cases. And that's something they had over a decade. And they know about this, but they haven't even tried to address it and change it. And that, for me, it like shows. And it's not about the people working at these companies, to be honest with you, because I've been contacting a lot of them that work at these big companies. And they are often very, very passionate people that want to make the best product possible. And that's like their dream job, to work at like that company. But when they get there, they understand it's not about making the best product. It's about making a product that sells and having as low R&D, like the development cost, as possible. And they don't want to take risk of doing something that maybe won't hit the market good, even if the performances are good. But if the market don't like it, they don't want to bet on that. So that's why we see case designs or product designs that are very similar every year. And as soon as someone is tweaking a little bit and it's getting a huge hype, for example, the fish tank, you can see almost all cases manufacturer, they make fish tanks because now it's a proven market. And that's something I can't do, to be honest with you. I want to walk my own path and create the products that have a reason, and not to be different just to be different, but to like challenge the basics of things. And I think that is very important, and to stay true to that as well. So yeah, do we have any more questions? No, not yet, at least. Yeah, that was a lot to talk about. I don't know how many have been here for, or how many people that are here even, but yeah, if you have any more questions or anything, just feel free to ask whatever in that sense. And if not, I think I'm going to start round up this stream. So I will wait a few minutes just to see if there is someone that's have a question. Yeah, here we have one. Stackable, more benefit than cooling, transforming. I'm not 100% sure what you're trying to say. Stackable, transforming. Can you phrase it in a different way, just so I'm on the right side? Sorry, it's probably me because my English is not perfect. So just phrase it a bit different, and maybe I can provide a better answer to it. Oh, if it's more than one machine. Now you're asking the really, really cool and awesome questions. Yes, okay, I get you. What can I say about this? I'm going to give you this answer. I don't know for how long you have been here, but the case is completely modular, which means there are endless possibilities of doing things. And the whole case is built by nuts and press screws instead of rivets. So you can deassemble the case in every part and assemble it back again. And hinting with that, yeah, it's something that's possible. Kevin, that joined recently, I've been doing this solo for 3.5 years. Kevin, a guy in the US, joined recently, that are our technical engineer and product manager. He also, I can say, like he saw a possibility of build it together in that sense. So yes, it's something that's been up for discussion. Yes, I don't know how big of demand it is, but it could be fun just to do it. Otherwise, it is possible for the people that are a bit more into the modding thing to actually put them together. Maybe like stack 2 or 3 together. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's the fun thing as well. Like you can rebuild it. It's like Lego in that sense. So yeah, I think it could be pretty cool, to be honest with you. I have no idea like the reason for it, but yeah. Oh, the balance. It's actually a good question because it's something we had not a problem, I would say, but this is the version number 4 we have here. And we can just compare it. And here we have the number 3. I'm just going to move that a little bit. And I can bring up the number 1. Let's see if it's in image. Let's see. Okay, let me bring this down instead. Sorry. Oh. Okay, so this is version number 1. As you can see here, I'm putting a very little pressure on it. Yeah, and it's tilting over super easy. It was not meant to be sturdy, the first one. Then we had the second one. This one, you have to put a bit more power. The front flipping is not good here. The side, kind of. And then we jump over the number 3, because it's better, but I wanted to show the number 4 at least. We're going to remove the mouse pad as well, so it's like flat. This one, like, you have to really put effort into it to be able to shift the weight. And the weakest push, the least power you have to put it's forward, but it's still like quite a lot of power you have to put into it. But when you get your hardware inside the case, it's going to be more heavier on the back, so it actually won't be as easy at all to push it over. So we really thought about it. So it can look, because of the shape, that it's like very easy to tip over, but it's been engineered to not to. So yes, it's not really possible to flip it, especially when you have the hardware inside of it. Then it's like very difficult. So great question. Now I box myself in here with all the. I don't have a huge office, so yeah. Was it one more question? Yes. Okay, yes, I can show you. It's no problem at all. So, how modular? So we made it firstly, so all the panels are detachable with like magnets. So you can remove it super easy. And this is also opening up for making different designs to the different panels. So you can, we will provide different designs and performance stuff, like silent panels, like different layouts. I think we even have one 3D printed actually. So the case is going to look completely different. Here we have one, so it looks like a bit different in style. But we have a lot of those designs, and that's something that you can do. And also, in a normal case, you have something called a rivet, and it's basically a way to put two materials together and then like lock it. There is no screws to be able to get it off. That is how the other cases are made. We made it with screws and nuts instead. So every part can be like removed in that sense. So you can get the case in every part that it is built from easy. So that is what I mean by modular. It's every part can be removed, and because it can be removed, it means you can also add things on that, and you can change. So you can have a different motherboard tray. You can have a different fan, places, and you can shape it basically however in that sense. That is what I mean by modular. So yes, and it's also possible to repair it. And also, if one part gets damaged, you don't have to order a complete new case. You can just order that part. So for me, at least, it's something that I'm very proud of that we created. It took, of course, a lot of more time and energy to make that happen. But it's, I think it's fun, and it's especially it's going to be very helpful for modders, I believe. Oh, okay. The shape itself, you mean? Okay, that you can change the layout, the shape of it. No, that is, in theory, it is, but then it becomes like a complete different case in that sense. So yes and no, I would say. I don't want to tell too much, but we have other cases as well in the pipeline that have a different look to it. So it's more going to be like a foundation in that sense, like a set model. Like, yeah, this is the Octa V1, and let's pretend there is a Octa V2, for example, and then they have a different shape to it. But we want to reuse, for example, the panels so they are able to fit all models. So this is going to be like an X1 panel. So it's going to fit on all the case models that have the X1 version, and then we have the X2, and then the X3, then we have a touchscreen, etc., etc. So that is something we try to make it. So we make an ecosystem of it, which make it more easy for all of you. So yeah, I hope it answered your question at least, but it was a really good question. But it's not like exactly like Lego where you're like building it like that, but more like you have all the parts that goes together in that sense. So yeah, that way it is modular, and it's possible for us to upgrade and also change things depending on what you users want. So for example, a lot of people want to do custom building for water cooling. Then we can make the case, we can upgrade different parts, which makes it much more easier and better for water cooling compared to this one that have the layout for better airflow, for example. So it always comes down to that, but we want that possibility at least, so the product is not stuck in time, but it rather can be upgraded depending on, you know, what people want and need. I think that is much more fun, to be honest. But yeah, that's the most modular we are right now, at least. But it's still a lot compared to most products out there today. Was it any more questions about anything? Okay, yes, one popped up right now. Sorry if I'm going out of frame. I have all the questions on my screen here, so I didn't. How about the TFT? Let me double check that one up. TFT LCD doors. Do you mean like a complete like frame, like a screen for the panel itself, or just the? Oh, just like a touch screen on the case. Do you mean like that? Just like a, you know, touch screen? Because if that's just a touch screen, yes. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I showed it before, so no problem at all. But we have a touchscreen on it. We actually did it first before there was any commercial cases out there that have a touchscreen, but we were not able to go to market first because, yeah, we are a small company. But we have a touchscreen here, actually, on the case. So it's just an extended screen because we didn't want to lock it between, like, behind software. So you only plug it in with USB and HDMI to be able to power it up. And it also is possible to have a Raspberry Pi behind it, actually. So it's actually our Raspberry Pi type of screen. And it's touch on it as well. And we want it also so it doesn't take a lot of resources from your GPUs as well. Because many of the screens you see today on cases, they actually take quite a bit of performance from you. And we wanted to go as much away from that as possible. So yes, there is a touchscreen, and that's also a modular part. So if you don't want touchscreen, you can have a fan instead. So yeah, and we're also going to have actually other places for the touchscreen as well. We haven't tried it out yet on the prototypes. It's not connected to the BIOS. No, it's not connected to the BIOS. And most of the cases, the screens today, actually, they are connected to, even if they have like, it's connected to the motherboard itself, it's often just powered by the motherboard. So actually the data is not coming from the motherboard, it's just the power, and then you have the software on your PCs to be able to get that data. And we didn't want to do that because we are a small company, and also the bigger ones, they have a problem when it comes to all this extra software. I really hate it myself because you can sometimes have your GPU, for example, and you have a sync for the RGB, for example, on that. And then you have the fans, they have their own software. And then you have the CPU cooler. And then you have like the RAM sticks. Like, then you have multiple software that's running, and they actually take quite a bit of your performance. So I wanted to make it as Spartan and clean as possible in that sense. We looked into a way to be able to read directly from the motherboard to get the temperatures, but that was very, very difficult task, and we didn't find any software developers that could do it. They could do an overlay on inside Windows, and then the user had to have their software, which we didn't want. But otherwise, I completely would say it would be super cool to be able to read the data exactly from the motherboard itself. If there was an easy way, maybe there is, but we have talked with a lot of different developers inside this, and they said it is possible, but very, very difficult in that sense. Yeah, AI may be able to help. AI is great, but it's also a big task in itself. And I'm I'm one guy. I'm already doing too much in that sense. I've been doing this solo for over 3.5 years, and just recently I got some few people to join as well. But we are not a lot of people, and we are very limited of like both resources and time. I'm doing this full time, and yeah. But maybe in the future we will look into it for sure. It's a lot of things you want to do in that sense, but you have to start somewhere, right? But yeah, maybe AI can help, and especially within a few years, maybe. Yeah, I think it's very, very valid. I think it can do a lot more than it do right now, to be honest. So yeah. Was there any more questions? Okay, yes. Nice. Yes, thank you so much for the encouragement. I'm doing my best to not give up, and right now I don't feel like I'm close to give up, to be honest. Like I said, I've been doing this 4 years. I haven't had any payments at all. And just investing all the money I had into this for so long. We have a website. It's called olicustech. I think we can type it in the chat as well. You can sign up there on our waitlist, and you get notified as soon as possible it's released. We also have a Discord channel. It's not a lot of people there right now, so you have a big space to be, there as well. The link is also up on our website, actually, to the Discord, if you want to join. Yeah, would be awesome. Super easy to get super quick input from you guys, and sometimes we have questions, regarding what we're going to do or stuff like that. So really value the input on those things, or just to hang out in that sense. So yes, we have a newsletter / sign up for a waitlist and a website. Do we have any more questions? Let's see. Oh, thank you. Welcome aboard to Olicus. Very glad to have you here, no matter what. It's really nice. I haven't been like publicly showing myself really before. I did everything stealth for 2.5 years almost. I did just show up at DreamHack. It's like a big LAN event, one of the biggest ones. And I bought a booth, had my own booth, and showed the product for first time to everyone. I just showed it to some friends, and it was a really great experience. And then we showed the prototype number 3, and it was super fun, actually. And after that, I haven't either really been out here like I'm doing right now. It's been very hidden in the dark in that sense, because I really wanted to make the best product possible and put all my energy into that instead of content creating. And now when we almost finished with the product, I felt like, hey, I have to tell the world at least, or try to see if there is anyone out there that may be interested in this, to show it. So that's where I'm right now. People want smallest, lowest temperature for PC gaming. Yes, thank you. Yes, I believe so as well. The people that actually care about temperature a lot, I think, yes, we want the lowest temperature as possible, because there are many benefits with it, because we can get more performance out of our hardware, and actually our hardware lives much, much longer. This is something people don't really talk about, and it's an physics equation that tells you if your electronics are 10C lower, it double the lifespan of it. So that means just by reducing 2C or 3C, you get up to 20 to 30% more lifespan on your product, which means, yes, we hardcore gamers, we change it before it gets broken, but then, okay, I don't know what happened. It went down for some reason. Hope that some will be able to join. Sorry about that. I have no clue what happened, to be honest. TikTok didn't like me to go live this long. If there was the questions you asked before, I was not able to read all of them. So let me know if there was any questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, yes. So yes, yeah. But airflow is important for sure, and it's something that I don't know why it's not talking a lot. Like you don't talk about it that often in that sense. I feel at least, but it have a lot of benefits, like I said. So yeah, it's very fun when we have data at least that our performance is really good from third-party independent, that not our own what do you call it, research or tests in that sense. Like someone else have actually done it in a way that is non-particle. That's pretty cool, and it's nothing someone else really showing out there. And we're going actually to release the data for it as well, so people can have a read themselves. I think I'm going to release that on Reddit because yeah, that's more suited for the people that really want to deep dive and nerd out about things. And we're going to try to update our Reddit subreddit more often. But it's a place basically where I want to be able to really deep dive into stuff, talk about stuff, sharing stuff that is a bit too heavy sometimes for like TikTok or nerd out, and just talk and communicate with like all of you, and help to show how this industry look and why we're doing things, and also like how can I say it, we get so much data on how this industry works and how the products actually functioning that the big tech companies don't show us, which I really hate myself actually, because I'm a gamer and I almost feel like they're lying to us. So that is something I really want to show more about. Okay, yes. So I started this journey 4 years ago, and I done 4 versions of prototypes and made them better each time. And the first prototype, it took me around, okay, I did one like in plexiglass at home in the garage. That one doesn't count because it's not like a made in factory. But the first prototype, it took around 1 year since I dedicated like to be like, hey, I'm going to do a case. So that one was pretty quick. And after that, it took about 6 months approximately to get to version 2. Version 3 took a bit longer. And number 4, we got just this summer. So it's many years. In this industry, it's the big tech companies, they take around 3 years to get from an idea to a case out on the market. So we are a bit further like in the timeline, but also we are a small company. We don't have, the main thing I have actually been to be waiting on the different suppliers and stuff like that, because we are so small. They won't like get directly when we have the designs ready. They don't want to manufacture it directly. We often have to wait. Sometimes we had to wait like 5 months or something before we could even like get it, even if we were ready with the designs. So that's something that's, if I could look on the complete journey, I could probably strip away like almost 50% of the journey to just wait on things. Now, other things have, of course, happened because I've been solo doing this for 3.5 years. So at that time, there was a lot of other things, to run up a company and focus on. So it's not like we have been sitting around and waiting for it to be manufactured, but it could have gone a lot faster for us, for sure. Just going to read, is there any more questions? No, not yet, at least. So yeah, it takes a lot of time to develop hardware, and it's difficult because it's compared to software. You can always, when it's like, you can always upgrade it. If it's something is wrong, you can always tweak it or stuff like that. But a physical product, it have to be like almost perfect to be able to be released. It have to work, you know. A software doesn't need to do that. You can be like 20% or 10% ready of the total product. So that is a big difference, and that's why it requires so much time and effort into building it. Yes, the aesthetics, I completely can understand. We all have different opinions about, you know, what we're liking, and you know, we all have different preferences. Like I said, what we like. The way we design the case is performance first. So everything design-wise is made for the performance, and that was why it looks like this does. But because the case is modular, like you said with the panels, these can be changed to complete different like layout designs of your own liking. And also we have the possibility to customize it into your own preferences. So now this is just a test because it's like very early stage for us, but we have a way to actually personalize it, so you can print whatever you want on your case to make it yours. So if you have a favorite anime, or you have a favorite video game, or have a picture on your cat or whatsoever, you can do that on the panels and the side panels. And that is something I really like myself. And we're also going to release the drawings for the panels, so you can make your own. You know, if you have a 3D printer, if you have a CNC, if you know someone that can do it, and you know, or if you're good like doing woodwork, that is like completely fine in that sense. Let me see. Let's see. There's a lot of questions. The cost of the product right now is pretty high because we don't do a lot of what do you call it? A big volume. And when it comes to hardware, it's always about how big volumes are you making. But we're trying to get the best price possible. I can't really say a price right now, but we're pushing it as much as we can in that sense. So it's something we're talking about for sure. And I will update you more on it when we have more fixed prices in that sense on it. But it's not going to be in the budget spectrum. And that's also why we have chosen to actually improve the quality of the build itself. Like the panels are made of 3mm thick aluminum, so it's like you can't even budge it even if you try. Okay, maybe some strong dude out there can. Yes, I shouldn't say someone can't, but it's really robust built in that sense. So we picked really good materials all over to be able to get that best build possible without going like too much in that sense. I'm just running to the chat here right now because it's okay. Yes, really good question about the flat package. It's actually something we need more input from you guys, because it is possible to do it flat packaged, and we can do it assembly as well. And it's, I don't know if you're going to have both options or not. The good thing about a flat package product is that we can get reducing the shipment, because most of the case, as you can see, it's air. It's an empty box in that sense, and that's terrible to ship. And also, when you have an assembled product, when you ship it to different countries, the tariffs is based on what type of product it is. And when it's not assembled, then it's just material. So in that case, the case can be material, which is lower tariffs. So our shipping will actually be much better compared to many of our competitors. Even if we have lower volumes, we can actually get reduced pricing on the shippings if we have it flat packaged. And we made it so it should be simple to assemble, but everyone is different, you know, some don't want to do it and some want. So I'm not 100% sure what the input is, and that's something I want to discover as well with all of you in that sense, because, you know, we have the power to change to what you like. Let's see. Sorry if I'm going out of picture. It's because I have all the questions on the screen here. It feels too big. Yes, it depends on what you're looking for. You know, some people like sport cars, someone like SUVs, and some like normal cars. It depends on what you're looking for. But this is built so you can accommodate the biggest GPUs and the biggest air cooler for your CPU. That is what we have tried to do. We're going to release smaller cases later, yes, but we wanted to push the possibility at least to have the larger ones in that sense. But it actually is smaller than it looks, because we have shaved away a lot of the so like the liters, the volume of it is actually smaller compared to other cases many times. So in size, I would say it's between a big mid tower and a small high tower. So it's just in that range. So if you like small build, yes, it's not a case for you. But if you like those builds, it is, and it's totally okay. Thank you so much for the nice words. It's not for me. It's about like selling as many cases I can. It's more about showing there is alternative ways of doing it and doing it different, and also trying to do it better in that sense. That have been my philosophy with this. So it's not about the volumes in how many I sell. I don't care, to be honest. It would be awesome, of course, if people want it. That's super nice. But it's not the main reason why I'm doing this. Let's see. We are going to ship. It depends on where we're going to build it, because we're talking with different manufacturers. Right now, we are a Swedish-based company. So before we tried to do Swedish manufacturing, which didn't work out, unfortunately. And we right now look overseas in Taiwan, actually. And yeah, we don't know if it's going to ship from there, or if we're going to get it to Europe first, or if we're going to have different locations in the US and Europe to reduce the prices as well, or in Asia. We are not 100% sure yet. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm doing my best, but it's like, yeah, it's a lot to handle. Just doing the distribution and shipping is like almost a company itself. Like it's pretty difficult, to be honest with you. But really good question. Let's see here. We don't have a price yet for samples. Or do you mean our price to get samples? Would be awesome if you could clarify that one. Thank you so much for the nice words. No one. Yeah, maybe no one buys its meatball. Yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I just wanted to show that there is a possibility to make a different case design and make it really good in airflow. And performance-wise, we have the data from independent research facilities that we have better performance than the rectangular cases that are the leading ones in airflow. That was our best attempt, at least. So yeah, it doesn't resonate with everyone, and that's totally fine. And the good thing about it is that, yeah, I'm not a designer on the visual things, but that's also what the beauty is with a modular case. It can be upgraded, it could be changed into your own liking. So there is endless possibilities of modding this to your own liking in that sense. Yes, we have Discord as well. If you go to our website at olicustech, you can see it in the top. And you can also sign up for the waitlist if you want to. And yeah, it would be awesome to have you there. We're going to ask a few questions about things over the time, so it would be really awesome. And let's see here. Could you theoretically scale it down to matrix or short graph card? Yes, that's something we look into for sure. This is our first product. We don't have a large of budget to doing this, and we're looking at doing a much smaller version as well. Actually, that it's already in development, I can say. So that's also pretty cool. But yeah, they serve different purposes in that sense. And so it's really important to make it not just smaller, but actually make sense to make it smaller and why it should be smaller and still be able to get that really good airflow. Because we learned so much on this with data from the tests we have run with the independent research facility and the company that did the simulations. And there is so much to do, to be honest. Like I'm really hyped in that sense to show what's possible when it comes to airflow in the PC cases. Let's see, can you put it on the side, like lean it so it where the motherboard port should be? Okay, the back side you mean? Yes, no problem. Can do it with this one. let's see here. So here you can see it on the back side. And why this angle is because we wanted to be able to fit between, so you can push it all the way back to your wall without bending your cables. And it's also because we have the intake for the CPU at the back. So we want to create that space it needs to be able to draw air to the fan itself. So that's why. So it's a bit angled, not super much, but a bit angled. And it's also about using more space, actually. A lot of people talked about it. It is big. It would be a lot bigger, the case, actually, if it was horizontal motherboard tray. Because right now, when we're using a diagonal, we're using more space inside the case. So we're actually optimizing the space itself. Sorry, I'm trying to read all the questions and everything. Sorry. Awesome. Glad to have you there on Discord. Going to chat with her for soon. And thank you for the angle. It's really smart. Yeah, I really try to put as much thought into it as possible, actually. There is so many benefits from it. And it actually also with the GPU sag, because normally when you have the GPU, when you have it horizontal, you put more weight here. But because it's angle, we're actually removing the middle in that sense. So it puts more weight to your brackets down here. So we actually remove the sagging. And we also, of course, including the GPU's support as well. And it's also about, how our design is made is because you have your GPU here and you have exhaust all over the sides. And also now in the newer ones, you have it here, up here. And that air normally goes straight into your CPU, which is not really good, to be honest. So we designed the airflow instead to be going from the back up here. So we don't use the hot air from the GPU. So that is like the foundation of. So it have like a lot of different like philosophies on the designs compared to the rectangular case. So it's not like literally everything you see have a thought behind it design-wise. It's not just, oh, that looks cool or whatever. Everything really, it have a reason why it looks the way it does. And so that's why we put performance and reason first and then design after it. So yes. Let's see here. Our Discord, my Discord name, it's Olicus. I think I'm on the upper one. Okay, how quiet is the pace under load in the case? So I haven't been able to afford a real independent test yet with acoustic. But the thing I can tell you this. The lower temperature you have, the less the fan's going to spin. The less the fan's going to spin, the less volume you're going to have. And also, the less turbulent case you have, the less sound it will have. The thicker material you have, the less the sound will have. And all of those things we have made inside this case. And we have real data showing it as well. But like I said, we haven't done a specific acoustic test yet. I don't have that money right now, to be honest with all of you. I would love to do it, but I can't afford it. I have to put the money into the last development in that sense. But it's something that I really want to do and really show it. But just with those other things, yes, those things create less sound. So without saying how much and that like that, this case should be quieter. Then you can also, of course, add like fabric and stuff like that to make it even more silent. And that's also something we want to make with the different panels. So we have like airflow panels, we have silent panels and stuff like that to actually even increase, or reduce rather, the sound inside the case. But it's very, very silent. You will not be able to buy the full computer from us. we won't build a computer, just a case, but we will have partnership with PC builders that can build inside the case. So if you want to have a pre-built, you're going to be able to buy that one from them. We're going to have a special program actually called Olicus Verified, I believe it's called. That means that we have picked all the hardware, so they are not allowed to build with any other hardware inside the case, to make sure that the case have the top quality components inside of it, so they don't try to make these cheap options that we are not aware of in that sense. They can of course buy a case and then just build inside of it and sell it. That's completely fine, but then it's not verified by Olicus. So we're going to have a certain program for that to make sure so you don't get garbage hardware. We want to make sure it's the best one possible, in that sense that we have tried it out, so we can specifically say this one is something we can stand behind in that sense. So yeah. Let's see. Yes, I think we're going to try to get some more updates on it before 6 months for sure. Right now, I would say, investor-wise, it depends. It depends. Like I said, it's been a long journey. I invested all my capital into doing this, and it's been very costly, of course. If we want to push it out truly ourselves, yes, then we would probably need some sort of like pre-order or investors to get it out. But the way we're leaning into right now, I can share it with all of you. It's more going Kickstarter way to build that trust and community also. And the case is almost like finished in that sense. So it's, yeah, you can see it here in that sense. Like it's developed, it's working. I've been using prototype number 3 that is like less developed compared to the number 4 for over 2 years, and it works completely fine. So now it's also just me who is like, I wouldn't say I'm a perfect, looking for the perfect, but I really want to make sure it deserves, like, I want to make it as good as possible. But you also have to get to the point where you say it's good enough, because otherwise it won't never be released in that sense. So yes, it's a very fine balance, and it's sometimes you just have to take that leap. Let's see. If 25,000 Swedish crowns would help, of course, every like money, but no donation or anything. Don't do that. Don't do that. If that was even a thought you had. Of course, money is something that helps. Yes, it is. But right now, I would say the main, like, not problem, but the biggest obstacle we have right now, it's basically to get the word out, because we have created this and basically no one knows about it, and it's completely fine in that sense. But to be able to bring this product to life, to market, we need to have people like knowing it exists. And I hate to be that. I've never been that guy that's like screaming, hey, look at me, look what I have done. I that's why I stayed away so long from social media, because I hate to like ask for the attention. If people genuinely want to see it and want to experience it and stuff like that, or listen, yes, that's a completely different story. But I hate to be screaming like everyone is doing, watch me, look at what I have done. I'm not that person. I rather want the product to speak for itself. But I also know it's going to be less visibility, which is a fine balance, because it's going against my own morals in that sense. But that's why I'm trying to create new content, and I'm trying to create the content in a such no-selly way I can as possible, because I don't want to push it to be, like, oh, come and buy this case, this is the best case ever. I don't want to be that one. I want all of you to say what you think about it and experience it and get that words in your mouth yourself, instead of putting it in your mouth to say like, hey, this is premium, this is superior. I don't want to say those words. I want it to come naturally from all of you. And yes, it requires more work and more, like, it's going to take longer to be visible. Yes. Yeah, you can't be, that's the thing. Okay, nice. I will accept your friend request. No worries, man. I'm just happy, that you are here, and just anyone basically just listening and watching or whatever. I'm just happy to have you here. Like I said, I've been building this in the dark. No one have been, clapping my shoulder and be like, "Hey, Oliver, this is really good," or "You're on the right track," or stuff like that. I haven't had anyone supporting me, and I don't say it in a way like, "Oh, go and support me," but just how the journey have been for me. It's been in the dark, like really no supporters. So just having you here and saying nice things, it really motivates me even more in that sense. And yeah, you can't afford to be modest in marketing. I know, but it's also something I believe in that sense. Like, I don't know, it's difficult. You always have to have the business mind and all of that, for sure. But it's yes, and that's why I'm trying to put myself out here more. For example, standing here live. I hate to be in front of the camera, to be honest. But yeah, you have to. Thank you so much for a nice word. What about the people who don't like the screen on the case? Well, they don't have to have it. It's completely modular. So you can have an extra fan spot instead, or you can have a portrait printed on me, for example, if you like that. You can do whatever you want in that sense. So, and about the fan sizes, I saw one question. All these spots around the case here, it's either 120 millimeters or 140 millimeters. The rear one, the back one, it's 120 millimeters. So you have the possibility to change on those. I would highly recommend to get 140 on all the places that can accommodate 140. And the back fan doesn't need to have 140 because we want higher pressure to go into the CPU. That's why we picked 120 millimeter there, because it gets higher pressure. So it's a option we made to make sure that your CPU gets even better cooling in that sense. Let's see, was there any more? Awesome. So yeah, there is. Yeah, you don't have to have the screen if you don't like to, and I completely understand that. That was why I made it possible with modularity. So the price, of course, going to be lower if you don't pick the screen compared to if you pick it. So yeah, it's a lot. Did we have any more questions or anything from anyone? I've been standing here for quite a while now. I think 2 hours almost. The first stream crashed for some reason. So I think it's perhaps maximum 1 hour. I don't know. I'm not very familiar with TikTok. So yeah, I don't know how much all of you have been here. Probably not 2 hours, I hope at least. But yeah, there is a lot to discuss and a lot of talk about, and it's just awesome to be able to stand here and share it with all of you that care. And I hope I built a product that can, show something different, at least in the market, which is very the same in that sense. So yeah, did you have a question? Okay. Yes, I am the owner. I started it 4 years ago. So I've been solo for 3.5 years, and now, yeah. So yes, I'm the owner. Can you theoretically, the panels have a single 200 millimeter panel? That's a really good question about the 200 millimeter, actually. I don't know. Theoretically, yes, with some modding for it, I think it is possible for sure. Maybe we have to change the motherboard tray backwards a bit, but like I said, the case is completely modular, so there are like endless possibilities of making things happen and fit to your narrative, and we can help out with that as well, depending on like the request. So for example, we had a lot of requests for 3.5 HDs drives, which I didn't include any bracket for, but I have 6 places for 2.5s. But now when we see there's a lot of people asking for the 3.5, yes, we're going to make it possible so you can have that as well. So that type of input help us improve this, and because it's modular, we are able to develop it. So it's more about if it's a real request from people. And I think we're going to put some sort of like polls or stuff like that, so people can actually like write stuff and vote on stuff, so we actually can know what you want in that sense, because it have to make sense for us to make as well, because we have to put time and prototyping into it. So we have to be sure that it's not like just one person, even if I want to do it to that one person, but we have to make sure that it's like reasonable to go after in that sense. Yes, we will have motherboard that will have back connectors. We actually were very quick on that one. So you have actually, I don't know if you can see it, but all this is for the new standard, possible new standard of back connectors. So yes, it's possible, and the same is with your PCU. You can also have the side ones as well. So yes, it's something we had and something we upgraded, and that's also the beauty of this case. If something similar pops up in the future, where it's like a new standard that would pop up or something, we have the possibility to do it in that sense. Yeah, and upgrade it, which is super cool. 3.5-inch drivers. Yes, so like I said before, I don't know if you were here or not, but there are different sizes on like your hard drives. So a lot of people ask for the bigger ones, and yes, that's something we can able to do for you. We didn't design it directly, but because, like I said before, the case is modular, and we have already six different spots for your M2, not M2, sorry, 2.5 drives. So we can just switch one of these out to 3.5 or all 3, depending on what you want. So we can be able to host what you like in that sense. Oh, is it so many people that want the 3.5? That's really interesting for me, because for me, like I'm a gamer myself, and build PCs, and I really only used like the M2 now when it's on the motherboard, but I also have the 2.5s. But it's really interesting that so many people still want and uses the 3.5. I understand that it's probably because it's often have much more storage to lower prices. I would guess, at least. So yeah, if it's such a huge demand for it, yeah, we're going to do it for sure. It's no problem. It's no problem. Is this PC? Yeah, it's a case, at least. It's a PC case. So it's the box around your computer in that sense. So yeah, we've developed this for 4 years now. It's a new shape that's made for gaming, invented for gaming from the beginning. Did we have any more questions? Okay, yes, okay. Do you send out all the materials for changing up the configuration, or is it behind more accessories? It depends, I would say, because we haven't released the case yet, so it's not like fixed what is going to be included or discluded. So if there is a huge demand for it, maybe we just throw in some extra 3.5s, in the package. It always depends. The more we add, the more it, of course, also increases the cost on the product. So it always comes down to, do we want it to be as Spartan and minimum as possible, or do we want to include as much as possible? And the price, because it's also about, some people don't want it and they don't want to pay for it as well, like when they haven't, they don't have a reason for it. So yeah, that's something we have to look into for sure, but it's possibilities, yes. Can you not have 2 months for every spot, 3.5 and 3.5. Yes, we have. So we have for this one we have 2.5 and 2.5s and 2.5s. So it's 6 places in total. Now don't praise me 100%, but I believe that the 3.5 is like wider, so you can't accommodate it in this one, I believe. And they are also a bit thicker, so we won't be able to, I believe at least, going to be able to stack 2 of them on top of each other. So it's more going to be like, if you switch this out, you're going to have -2 of the 2.5s. But once again, the case is modular. We can make the motherboard panel so it's like a server rack if people want to. And which one? Oh, yeah. So yes, there is a lot of possibilities at least. Was there any more questions? Will it be color customizations? Yes, there will be. We're probably going to have like large bulks that every case manufacturer have, like in black and white. But like I said before, we have the possibility to actually customize everything with the case. So here, for example, you can see something we are trying out right now. You can customize your case to whatever you want. Like you can print your favorite anime, you can print your favorite game, or have a picture on a cat, or me even, on the case, and customize the case to your own liking, and also doing with the colors as well. So there is a lot of possibilities. How heavy? This is a super funny question, because of all the prototypes I made, I haven't weighed it once for some reason. I don't know why. So I can't give you an exact estimate on the weight, but it is not that heavy because we're using a lot of aluminum in the case. And aluminum weighs approximately 1/3 of steel in that sense. So yeah, it's not super heavy, but it's not light either, because we also want that robust feeling, you know, and we don't want the case to be flexible. Even now, when we don't have the side panels on, you can't even twist it. So it's like, you know, a lot of cases you can often bend and flex when it's not, you don't have the side panels installed. So this case is like very, very robust built. My dad often said to me, like I was building a tank. And yeah, maybe that's true. I don't know. Gift with pre-order panel. Yeah, if people want my face, yeah, go for it. It would be pretty funny, to be honest. But yeah, like, yeah. I will look into it. Otherwise, I will give you one for if you really want it. Was there any more? Luxury version with many panel designs and budget version with all one. Yes, that is also a possibility. We want to be able to have that as well. But like I said, there could be customized, like this is just one design we have, and we have multiple designed actually with different patterns and stuff like that. So it really gives a different feeling and even complete different like aesthetics to the case just by like changing the design. And we can also do it in different materials like glass or wood. Plastic, I don't know, maybe, yeah, maybe some cool plastic panels, but they are not best for performance. Fan hubs. Is a specific better place for fan hubs? I wouldn't say a better place in that sense. We don't have a dedicated place for it. But because this panel is in metal, most of the fan hubs today, they actually have magnetics. So you're able to move it around. So depending on where you want it, you can fit it in that sense. But we haven't had like a dedicated spot for the fan hub itself. I don't know, is it something people would like to have or not? That's also, you know, all these things are very great for us to like reply to. And like you bring it up because it also opened up, because I can't think about everything in every detail, but it's very good that you bring stuff like this up. Any panels held by magnets? Yes. All of them, actually. All of them have magnets. so they are like super easy to be removed, and that also makes it possible and easier for all of you modders, because you know you don't have to do these clips. You just, and we can also tell you what type of magnets in strength we're using as well, so it's super easy for you to make. What are the I wouldn't say it's any vibration, to be honest with you, because we have it, like I said, it's built with like a lot of like robust material, and we also use a lot thicker material as well. So the panels are made by 3mm thick aluminum. You know, you can't even flex it. And actually, the rest of the case is made almost double the thickness of the rest of the materials. Oftentimes, what manufacturers try to do, they try to make it as thin as possible because that saves money. So they often aim to be around 0.6 to 0.8mm in thickness. We have in some parts even 2mm thickness on the steel and aluminum to build that more robust feeling in that sense. Is there more expensive cases as I can remember? Dedicated place. The magnets are embedded in the panel itself, so you don't have to like glue them yourself. It's going to be embedded in the panel. Like the optimum distance to fans. Okay. You mean for the fan hub, I guess, right? Okay. Yes. Yeah. That may be so. I haven't really looked into that, to be honest with you. But I think many times it's like it comes down to, because so many people have so many different options, and I think there are two different design philosophies. Either you close everything and you don't make it possible for anything different from what you suggest them to have. And then you have also the more open, free one, but that also requires more thinking and doing from the customer in that sense. And I didn't want to plant like cable like canals, for example, because when I talk to a lot of like the people that used custom cables, they are often much more thicker, and you can't fit them inside these cable management canals. So that was why I didn't want to bring those inside the case itself. So that is something that's the same with the fan hub. For some people, yes, it's perfect to have it in one place, but for maybe some other people, they want the possibility to be like, hey, I need the fan spot to be over here because I have all this stuff or whatever. So I try to make it as open as possible to like building it, but at the same time, yeah, makes sense. But I can 100% look into it for sure, and it's a really good point, to be honest with you. Nice, cool. I think I'm up to date on all the questions. Let me just double check. It's so annoying. I was trying to get the stream up on my iPad, but it was not possible to do it. So I have to go all the way to my monitor. Cool. Was there any more questions, or are we done in that sense for now? It's been a very long live stream. It's super fun, to be honest with you. It's really cool to connect with all of you. And yeah. Was it a more question? No. Oh, yeah. Yes, I will get some rest when I'm dead. There is so much to do, you know. I'm working more than full time on this. But yes, thank you so much for the nice comment, at least. I don't know if it's something you enjoy or if it's like completely meaningless to be standing here live or not, but I think it was fun to be able to, you know, interact with you more live and not just, you know, posting videos. So if you like it, I can do it more times for sure. I will try to have a topic each time so we have something to discuss and jump into. But other than that, yeah, other than that, I wish you all a great day, and I'm really happy that you interacted with me. So yeah, take care. And oh, was there one more question? Sorry. You should vlogging the journey. Oh, yeah, maybe I should. I'm trying to put myself out there, but it's difficult for sure. And yeah, as you know, it's difficult to get visibility on platforms. But yeah, if it's something people enjoy, I would 100% do it for sure. Well, now you're now you, in your case of fighting with Asus Pro Art for my next PC case. Ooh, Asus, yeah, big company for sure, for sure. Yeah, it depends on when you need it. You know, if you need it now, go with the Asus one for sure. Otherwise, go with this. No, don't. Pick the one that makes more sense for you in that sense. The other products are great out there as well. They work totally fine. It's not my point that it's not working, but I think it's a time and change that we actually invent stuff for gaming and instead of just pushing it to fit gaming. I think there's a big difference, and there are so many things that's in my pipeline, not just cases, that I really want to make happen in that sense. And to be able to make this happen, I have to have all of you, on this journey. You don't have to buy the products or anything, but just the support means a lot for me personally and also business-wise. So, yeah, I hope I can redefine how gaming can be, and that I also put more pressure on the big tech companies to actually start innovating for real, to actually go that extra mile and not settle with like the least innovation they can just to make more money. So I think that is something that's super important as well. Yeah, I hope I reach people that care. Yeah, you have been all here for a long time, and yeah, that's really nice to be able to meet all of you, for sure. People like to see scope of configuration, so you should post more about that. What type of configuration are you thinking about? Like how the different fan setups, or what type of hardware you can use, or what type of like configuration are you talking about? You can also think about a case for workstations. Yes, 100%, 100%. It's not as fun for me, I would say, because I'm passionate in gaming in that sense. But like I said, I want to build a tech company, so it's not only going to be about gaming when maybe one day. But right now, I feel like it's the most like niched market in that sense that haven't had any real innovations really to it, and there are so many low-hanging fruits, and we haven't seen changes. Like the keyboard we're using, it's based on a typewriter. It's 150 years old, and we're using it to play video games. Doesn't make sense for me. Doesn't make sense, because those people who invented the typewriter didn't think about gaming, and that we push it to be able to play games on is wrong from my perspective. It works. We all played with it for sure, but it shouldn't. There should be at least some other options out there that are better, and that's why I believe also why we see controllers, for example, on consoles, because when they invented the console, if the best solution would be keyboards, they would have put it on those. So I think it comes down to how we interact, and also be able to go back to the foundation instead of thinking about the solution we have and just trying to make them a little bit better all the time. We sometimes have to go all the way back and ask, why are we doing this in the first place? If we didn't know this product existed, how would I solve the problem today? And that is what I want to do. I want to go back to the core foundation and develop the product. Yes, for so many people it could be, oh, you're just reinventing the wheel. Yes, but it is worth it. It's worth the challenge, because you can discover so many things that are better. And I want to be here when we step into the next gaming era, and we're not going to do that with the innovation they're doing today. Then I will be dead, before I see this awesome, cool stuff. We need companies that actually take that risk and really push the industry forward. And those companies are the one we have to support. I don't say that you should support mine. There are many out there that doing just that. They're doing it out of passion and they want to do better than what's available right now. And those companies, I believe, is the one we have to support if we want to see a better future and the new era of gaming. Okay, we have some more questions. Yes, keyboards are universal, and that's why they are popular. For sure. Like I said, we can play games on them. That's no problem. But we also have to go back and ask, is it really the best way to interact with it? It's almost, if you take it as extreme, like we cooked food on fires, we can still do it, but it's not very optimized. And just because it's working, we shouldn't explore a new option to cook food. Doesn't make sense for me. Or running a marathon in sandals, it works completely fine. But now there are running shoes with Nike, they are better, because they did go back to the foundation. Is it better running with a sandal or something else? So, and someone have to start that questioning and exploring and testing and see if there is an alternative out there, which I truly believe. But yeah, it's challenging and it's uncomfortable for many people because that's their reality. But there is 100% more solutions out there that makes more sense when it comes to gaming products, for sure. And that's what's really pushing me forward in that sense, to show you all what is possible to do. So what instead of a keyboard? Oh, should I reveal my product before it's even like fully developed? Well, if you look at this, we have what it comes down to is basically a keyboard is really great when it comes to typing, because it was like invented for typing. When it comes to video games, we made it fit for gaming. We made the cool RGB, the cool keycaps and the different switches and stuff like that to make it faster, quicker, more responsive. All of that, we made it to fit gaming, but it was never invented for it. And what it all boils down to is, what is the purpose of us having a keyboard from the beginning? The reason why we have a keyboard is a way for us in the human, physical world, to be able to get input in the digital world and control, in this case, video game characters or game mechanics in the digital world. That is the core problem we're trying to solve. How are we going to interact with the digital world from the physical world in the best way possible? And depending on what things we want to solve, for example, in games that are very high, quick in that sense, like League of Legends, MOBA games, FPS games, you have to have really good and accurate input, for example. But when it comes to more slower game, like a strategy game, like Civilization, you don't need as quick inputs. So depending on what you're trying to solve, I think there is different type of devices that can be developed, and that is my belief, at least. But I think we're always going to, not always, but we're going to still need some way to be able to type, because many games you need to be able to type. But just interacting and playing the game, I think there is a lot of different solutions out there, without spoiling anything what we have in the pipeline. So yeah, there is, and that is also when you start to think about those things, you realize how much is actually built in this industry just on old, computer mouse, keyboards, desks, chairs, whatever, monitors. Everything is based on very, very old design and problems they solved back then, and we just made it fit, and it works, yes. But I truly believe there is an alternative out there to do it different and better, for sure. Yeah, now I talked very much about my vision and philosophy, at least. I really like it, to be honest with you. Alternative to the desk. Okay. Okay, people are really curious about these things. Okay. Once again, go back to the core foundation, and this is something I always been as a kid as well. You always have to understand what is the purpose of the product, what is the problems it tries to solve, and you have to look at it from a day perspective. So yeah, maybe it's still going to be a desk, but it's going to offer different solutions that makes it less as a desk in that sense. We actually already have it in development, one desk actually. You can still see it is a desk, yes, but it have some small what do you call it, features that you don't see in desks today, that is pretty different. But yeah, there is a lot of things, but that is also the thing I want to do. I want to do things that have a purpose and not just like being different to be different, but like having a purpose for it in that sense. Oh, those chairs, yeah, those are really cool. Those are really cool, the Chinese ones. Yes, I truly like them, and that's also like they did that extra step to go, like, that extra step to be like, hey, we don't need like a normal desk or a normal chair, but let's integrate it to one. That's pretty cool, actually. So yeah, there is other options, and I love when we're exploring and testing things out. Every solution doesn't need to be the best, but it have to be like challenging the existing solution on some way of solving the problem different and in a better way, for sure. I have something. Yeah, there is some alternatives actually to keyboards, which is like really cool. Most of them are more to typing and coding compared to like gaming. But yes, there is a lot of different options there. Pro the new Tesla. Yeah, cool. So yeah, there is many cool things, and I think also for like designers, there is also like there's a company called Work Louder that is super cool. Go support those guys if you don't do that right now. Work Louder is their name. There was also two guys that were, really passionate about editing, and they didn't feel like there was an like good editing keyboard out there, so they wanted to create that, and they did, and it's super cool. And they did. I think they've done multiple now as well. I'm not an editor myself, so it's not a product that I personally use, but there is a lot of those companies out there that like trying to solve something different and new, and they have a lot of the big tech companies actually copying their product to, because they showed that it works and is of demand for it, which is, it's good validation for sure, but it's not fun to be copied, of course. But that's just how the game of business is. People are going to copy you, and you just have to keep going forward, because that can be your edge. And that's how I'm planning to do this company, is that, yeah, people are going to copy this if it's going to be a success. And the way you're doing it is not by protecting it, but actually move on to the next thing, because they will always be one step behind. So you're always going to be the one that's bringing new ideas to the market. And I think it's better to focus on that. And people will also be remembering it to be like, hey, that's just a copy of that. Hey, they just stole that idea from that, which I also think is a very powerful move, because the community is what's going to do the long-term winning, which the big companies don't understand at all. Because right now, many of us, we're just supporting the big companies because we don't have an alternative to it. We just have to accept how it is, how they treat us. We just have to, because there is no alternative. But when that day comes, yeah, I think we're going to see a big shift in what companies are going to be around, for sure. Or they have to really, really, change the way they're doing stuff for real. Not exactly the easiest
idea to do with our motherboards, but what about mirrored cases?
You mean like you can have like the case, the motherboard on different side depending on you want to have it on the left or right side? Is that what you mean by mirrored? Just to make sure. Okay, cool. Yes, once again, the case is modular, which makes it possible to do both on left and right. We haven't developed it right now because we don't like. I see a lot of in many communities where you talk about the actual solution to have it on left and right, but when it boils down to people that actually have it on the opposite side, it's not a lot of people. And yeah, I'm open for it in that sense, but like I have to see a real demand, not just because it's cool to have that feature, but more like, yeah, I would love to have it because of X, Y, Z. But yes, it's possible. Like I said, the case is modular. It's more about switching out different components in that sense. But it is possible, yes, for sure. But that is also the balance of everything. You know, many people screaming what they want, but you can't serve them all. You have to pick what people you want to serve at that moment and the next. But that doesn't mean that the next time you're going to do a project that you won't serve the same people you excluded last time. So it's more about focusing on what people you want to serve and what options you want to be able to provide. And it doesn't mean that the next product is going to be the same for the same target group every time. So that's also something that's super important because I want to listen. I lurking and in tech comments and Reddit and stuff like that, and looking and really trying to figure out what people want, you know, and also to be able to stand here or get comments about ideas and inputs that also like make it possible for us to make better products. And because you are the one that's going to use this in the end, yeah, I'm going to use it as well, but you are the one that's actually going to use this. So it's important that it can fit to you guys and not just, you know, myself. No, there is no components inside of it right now. So there is no AMD processor. I think it's just the case. Yes, kind of with the mirrored thing, yeah. You have to change out a little bit. You would need to change out of this case. You would need to change this back plate. It goes from here to here, I believe it is, if I remember correctly. And you would also need to switch out the motherboard panel to be on the opposite side. Other than that, there is nothing to be changed, I believe. So it's 2 parts from my non-engineering perspective, at least. Could be 3 parts, but around 2 parts at least. Flipping the motherboard upside down, that sounds crazy. So you mean like to have it completely upside down? Ooh. No, I haven't thought about that, to be honest. I can't say why it's good or bad right now because I have to look into it for sure. Could be interesting for sure. I don't think it's going to be good in this case because we have the way we have made the case is how the air is moving. So if we flip it, just now trying to think quickly, the airflow going to be changed in this case itself. So it's not going to cool the components the same way that we invented it to be. So in this case, I believe it's not good. But if you have thought about it from the beginning when you're designing the case, then it's a complete different philosophy. And then, yeah, theoretically, it would be normal. The only thing as well, I don't know if the motherboard, when I think about it, actually now when I think about it, for example, with the GPUs and the slots, they are often designed to where the weight is going to be. So if the weight is going to pull the opposite direction, it could damage your motherboard, for example, more. But with a GPU bracket, yeah, then perhaps it won't be a problem. So yeah, good, and that's what I like as well. like asking these questions, because that is what it comes down to, like asking most of the questions, because many times you can often go like, oh, does it make sense or not, or whatever, and you like try to come up with the idea behind it, but you have to always be allowed to ask that question. And I've been very clear with that with other people I work with. No matter what your background you have or what knowledge you have, always ask questions, because it could be stuff like someone haven't even thought about that is a really good idea. So you should always have that like workplace where it's allowed to speak, to ask, to learn about things. That is super important, because that is how you come up with solutions. Yeah, it would make the GPU intake from the top. That's why it's like right now the top is like exhaust, so that will be, yeah, you have to rethink everything in the case. I don't say it's wrong in that sense, but yeah, you have to really rethink how it's done in that way. But it's really interesting, to be honest, and yeah, could be worth exploring. Why not test it out yourself in that sense? Like I'm really meaning it. Like it's very easy, and just see if there is a temperature difference and anything. Just put it in a box and just flip it and just see if there is a difference into it, or if there are other benefits of it. Like, yeah, it's worth exploring. That's how we discover things, by doing and doing. You know, that's why I have 4 prototypes, because I wanted to improve on each of them every time. Because if we would be satisfied with the first one, I wouldn't be proud to be standing here and be promoting or talking about the case at all, personally. So it have to go through a certain time of iterations to really refine it, to get it better and better, and solve the problems from the prior existence one. But you also have to get to the point where you're saying enough is enough, in that sense. So that's also very important. Let's see. Put the motherboard with the ports up. So you're putting it like, you almost like hanging it in that sense. So you're basically doing, let's see, going like this then. Let's see if the camera is just a few minutes behind. Yeah. Yeah, and once again, I think just if you're planning out how the array is going to move inside the case, it's not going to be a problem. Same thing here, just make sure that the design of the components don't put too much pressure on your hardware, so it doesn't snap. But other than that, like, everything is possible, and that's the cool thing, because but I personally, if that day come and I can design my own motherboard, I'm 100% going to do that, because I think that it's like, yeah, it could be done in a much better way than it is today, from my perspective at least. But that's way too high, like, level of things that you really have to